The north ridge burned. A flood of orcs rushed through a shattered grove gate, laughing, chanting, dragging a cart with a siege bomb, black powder stolen from the east and meant to reduce the Yavanna Tree to splinters. Aelarion arrived first. He leapt from a fallen trunk and drove his blade into the bomb wagon's lead orc, shattering the wood wheel and sending the fuse rolling into mud. Behind him, Elves surged with screams and Quenya and Sindarin, colliding with the orcs in a desperate, brutal melee. An orc captain met Aelarion blade for blade, until Bregalor stomped into the ridge. "You shall not poison her." His fist crushed earth and enemy alike. He picked up a burning trunk and hurled it into the siege wagon, igniting a chain reaction that engulfed the ridge in smoke and fire. Dozens died. Aelarion coughed blood, covered in ash, but the line held. But from the shadow of the veil, Gashkûl emerged. 9 feet tall, cloaked in black scale, wielding a blade carved from a dragon's rib, he moved with terrifying precision. He cut through elven lines, killing 5 warriors in seconds, and charged toward the Yavanna Tree. Aelarion ran to meet him. They clashed beneath the roots, sword against serrated bone, ancient oath against endless hate. Gashkûl laughed. "The forest burns. And you, little lightling, will watch it die." Behind him, orcs surged toward the sanctuary. Ents fell like towers. The Yavanna Tree shimmered as its bark began to crack under assault. Then Bregalor stepped between them. He struck the ground with his full weight, cracking it, knocking back all enemies near the tree. "I was born of her root," he said, "and I shall fall with her breath." He picked up Gashkûl in both arms. The warlord screamed and stabbed, but Bregalor did not let go. "May your ashes feed her rebirth." And then he leapt into the flaming gorge, taking Gashkûl with him. The forest held. The orcs, leaderless and dying, broke. Elves wept and sang. The Ents who survived returned to the deep woods, fewer than ever. Bregalor's name was carved into the Yavanna Tree, which still glows faintly on moonless nights. And Aelarion, now old and gray, tells the tale to any who will listen. The forest remembers. Title: The Roots of Wrath. The ground split open with the force of 1,000 marching boots. Flaming arrows streaked through the canopy, igniting silverleaf trees. The screams of dying oaks and elves filled the air like a choir of agony. "Hold the line!" shouted Commander Aelarion, his voice barely rising above the clash of steel and the roar of burning bark. His golden armor was scorched, his eyes wild, bow forgotten. He now fought with twin swords slick with orc blood. Beside him, an Ent charged forward, Bregalor of the Westgrove, a towering being of living wood and root, his arms splintered but unyielding. He swung a massive branch like a club, shattering 5 orcs in a single sweep. But there were too many. From the black marshes, they came, 40,000 orcs, led by the warlord Gashkûl the Vile, riding beasts stitched from warg and corpse, screaming the war chant of the dark flame. This was no raid. It was annihilation. Only days before, the elves of Tir'Lendrelas had gathered in peace. They sang under moonlight, tending the great Yavanna Tree, oldest in the east, whose roots whispered to the Ents and gave life to all the forest. But the Ents had heard rumbling. They felt axes in distant soil. They smelled ash in the roots. They warned of something vast moving beneath the land. The warning came too late. The orcs marched under cover of smoke, dragging catapults, burning saplings as they went. They did not come for conquest. They came to defile. When the attack began, the elves answered with flame arrows and blade dancers. The Ents tore stone from the hills and built root walls overnight. But nothing stopped the tide. Aelarion stood on the ridge overlooking the Vale of Roots, now a battlefield of churned mud and fire. His once pristine war cloak was in tatters, his arms shaking from endless combat. He watched as an elder Ent, over 200 feet tall, was felled by chained trolls with iron axes. The tree being fell with a thunderous groan that shattered stone. "We must hold this line," he told Bregalor. "If the Yavanna Tree falls, then the forest dies." The Ent rumbled. Suddenly, a horn echoed from the north ridge. The orcs had breached the glade wall. Aelarion's heart sank. That was their last barrier before the sanctuary. Without hesitation, he turned. With me! All who can still fight, now! A handful of warriors followed, many limping, bleeding, but none hesitated. Bregalor did not speak. He simply ripped his roots from the earth and charged.